Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a cook with me video where I share with you how I make my family spaghetti and meatballs. The meatballs I do make from scratch, and I also make the Caesar salad dressing from scratch, which is a recipe that I've had for about 20 plus years. So it's a real quick and simple meal. I promise it doesn't take all day. I usually can get this meal on the table in about 45 minutes. So if you'd like to see how it's done, please stick around and watch the video. So for the meatballs, I start by adding 1 whole egg to a pound of meatball mix, which is 1/3 of beef, 1/3 of pork, and 1/3 of veal. Next, I add in a 1/2 cup of ground saltine crackers. I prefer to use crackers instead of breadcrumbs because I just think it gives the meatballs a better texture. Then I'm going to add in some minced garlic, about 1½ tablespoons, but you can adjust it to however you'd like. Next, I'm going to sprinkle in some dried parsley. Usually I like to use Italian seasoning mix, but I had just run out and didn't have time to run to the store, so I was using what I had on hand at the time. Then I add a few grinds of fresh ground pepper, again as much or as little as you'd like. I use about 5 or 6 twists, I guess. Then I add a handful of grated Parmesan cheese. And since I am using the grated Parmesan cheese and the saltines, I do not add any other additional salt. Next, I take a fork to start the mixing process before switching to my hands, which I promise were washed before I started mixing the meatballs, and then sort of do a folding motion to mix everything together, trying not to mix the meat too much so that the meatballs don't turn out tough. As my grandmother always told me, when it comes to making the meatballs, you want to try to use as light of a touch as possible. Once everything is mixed, I use a 1½ inch cookie scoop to scoop out the mixture and lightly roll into a ball. Then I place it on a lined cookie sheet and continue this process until all the meatballs are made. Once all of the meatballs are made, I put the tray into a preheated 425-degree oven and then turn and check on my gravy or sauce, whatever your family calls it. We call it gravy, but I just give it a few quick stirs just to make sure everything is okay, nothing sticking to the bottom, it's not burning, anything like that. Then I also get a pot of water on the stove and get the water boiling for the pasta. Then I take a quick minute to clean up the mess that I have made so far so that it isn't all piled up at the end of dinner. At this point, I start preparing the Caesar salad that we are going to have with the dinner, and I start by cutting and washing 2 whole romaine lettuce heads, and once they're washed, I dry all the leaves and set them aside. Now that the water has come to a boil, I add the spaghetti. Today I will be using a whole box since everyone seems to be home for dinner this night. Then I give the gravy another quick stir before turning off the heat and taking it off the burner. Then I go and grab the meatballs and get ready to put them into the sauce so that they can all make friends and marinate and play nice in the sandbox. At this point, the pasta has softened a little, and I give it a quick stir to make sure all of the pasta is in the water and ready to cook. Since the pasta will be ready in about 10 minutes, I start on the Caesar dressing. This is a recipe that I learned way back in my early 20s when I was a waitress at an Italian restaurant and we did Caesar dressing tableside. I start with the juice of half a lemon and get that into the bottom of a wooden bowl and pull out any seeds that may escape. Then I start by using 1 anchovy fillet and smash it against the side of the wooden bowl with the back of a spoon. And the trick is to try to use some of the lemon juice if needed to help the anchovy fillet disintegrate without actually getting it into the bottom of the bowl. You're supposed to smash it all around the wooden bowl on the sides until it is all gone. Then I add a heaping teaspoon of minced garlic and 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Then I add some freshly ground black pepper and some Worcestershire sauce. That always takes me a little bit of time to say. just a few dashes here. And then I add the yolk of 1 egg. And you can omit this part if you do not wish to use the egg at all. Then I take some wooden salad servers and mix it all together until everything is blended nicely and it looks like it is well combined. Next, I add in some extra virgin olive oil and continue to stir as I drizzle that in until it reaches the consistency that I like. Once it reaches the consistency that I prefer, I switch to a whisk and use that at the end to ensure everything is well blended. After checking for seasoning, I realized that it needed another anchovy, so I smashed the second one on the side of the bowl as I did with the first one, and also added a few extra dashes of Worcestershire sauce, garlic, and pepper. Next, I add about a cup of grated Parmesan cheese and mix well into the salad dressing. At this point, my battery died and I didn't realize it until the very end, but basically after I made the dressing, I added the romaine leaves and tossed lightly. I then threw some frozen Texas toast into the oven for 7 minutes and drained the pasta. Here is how everything looked on my son's plate, and I promise it all only took about 45 minutes to do everything from start to finish, and that included having to stop and move the camera around. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, click on that red subscribe button and join my little YouTube family. Until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful week and stay safe.